You bum. And we are back. Sunday morning, dual rants live. We're here to suffer with you. We're here to set the record straight. I'm bringing the footage. Robin's bringing the heat. Oh, I was throwing chats up on the screen while we listened to L Explicit. But Robin, it's always nice when you shout people out. You want to say hello to our viewers?
Absolutely. Once again, man, it is great to be back on another Sunday Live. But not only is it Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, we all know it was Kobe Bryant's birthday yesterday, but today is number 24. Once again, we're representing for Kobe Bryant, representing for the Mamba mentality. So shout out to all the Los Angeles Lakers fans out there. Shout out to all the Kobe Bryant fans. Shout out to all the basketball fans out there that continue to stand up and set the record straight, man. You guys know the deal, man. Like I said, we are truly humbled. Me and the Czar are back again with another one. We got a great episode lined up for you, my man. The Czar's got a lot of video footage that he's ready to break out. Shout out to all you guys that continue to come through. There's a lot of people already came through the live, man. Realist 213, Chris Fasciano, Extra Sam Sarek, Michael Gill, KC11, Dakota Lariat, the Jesse Glad Saget, Renee 43, Dark Thunder, The Real Siberius, Speck of Fantasy, Cameron MCOC, King Speech Row, Deal With It, Import, McZuggins, Gun Club Kyle, Boom Shakalaka, shout to Robert Colburn. It's not that serious. Thank you to all you guys that continue to come through, man. Like I said, we are truly humble, and you guys know the deal, man. Let's roll.
We have a very full show for you today. Just got confirmation from self-researched NBA Facts that he will be coming on at 9:30. So we got to fit in all the shit I have lined up. You've been ranting all week. I don't know which of those you want to spend some time on, but I put in the schedule you versus No Chill Gil. Of course, there's you versus House of Highlights. It's pretty much us versus
pretty much everybody. Can you hear me, LH? Did I cut off? Maybe I cut off.
I'll go deeper into that in a second. Got my Just One Play series that's in the members only section, but we're going to take a look at it. But you know what? This has evolved into 7 consecutive plays. We're going to spend more time on one of the plays, but I was going back. What we're looking at is the first game with LeBron James at age 40. Okay. Which was not his first game, which was not the first game that took place as a 40-year-old, but LeBron James, being LeBron James, of course, set out a game. Anyway, I'm comparing him and Jordan's first games as 40-year-olds, and I'm in the first period. 7 fucking consecutive plays. I'm finding while I'm editing, I haven't been able to not point out his bullshit. 7 consecutive fucking plays in the first period. Anyway, we're going to get to this. I want to talk about the Blazers selling for over $4 billion, which to me just kind of like knocks that whole hype about the Lakers selling for $10 billion down a little bit because, well, duh. I mean, if the Blazers are selling for 4, the Lakers should sell for 10, should they not? Content creators saying that LeBron is being forced out of the league. I want to talk about some old forgotten dunks that are fantastic. Yeah. And I'm going to go from that into comparing something specific, the overhyped LeBron James dunking on Jason Terry dunk compared to some other dunks that are way better.
Absolutely. Shout out to my man Dakota Lareed. I mispronounced the name. Shout out to him. I put the comment up on the screen. Thank you very much to all you guys, like I said, that come out there. Shout out to your great uncle that served in the Navy. Shout out to my man Dakota Lareed, man. Shout out to Heath Overledger, Andrew Music, Nemo LA, Millhouse Nevermind, Movie King. Thank you very much for all you guys, man, to continue to come through. My man GoCast Hoops. I see you guys. Somos Banditos. What up, man? Thank you very much, guys.
I don't understand what's happening with YouTube's algorithms, but they keep putting these goofy looking children that are supporters of LeBron James into my feed. Thank Christ they only have a couple of hundred views, but I mean, these guys are exactly what I expected a LeBron fan to look like. This latest one belongs in the Chameleon Lizard Club with Steve Nash and McGrady. Fucking eyes stick going out the sides of his head and shit. Never touched a basketball in his life, but we're gonna warm up. We're gonna warm up. I used to be angrier. I got the wind taken out of my sails by exercising this morning. It calms me down, and also
That's good.
this comment. Here's the problem with the LeBron James comments. After a while, I think, wait a minute, is this actually one of my supporters making fun of one? Because the shit they write is so over the top. You're like, oh, this is somebody making fun of a LeBron fan. This is someone mimicking a LeBron fan. And then I thought, no, his even his handle is I worship LeBron type of shit. So guys,
no, you're absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. That's why I have an entire segment on my channel. Shout out to everybody that knows my segment. LeBron James fans say weird things, because the things that are typed in these comment sections is absolutely insane.
Oh, and I understand this is stupid, petty shit, and that's why it's at the beginning of the show. We're gonna get to the real core of stuff, but let's just. I'm gonna switch to having fun instead of being angry.
Well, listen, you're having fun while being angry. You can have fun while being angry. Like I say, that's why we got the angry old rants going on. This is what we've all of a sudden adopted.
You know, you tools that say, what are you going to do when LeBron retires? I guess we'll like make fun of you for 10 years or so because you've given us a lot.
Sounds about right.
Okay, so this guy, when I advertised the show, one guy says, you guys are obsessed with LeBron. Really, we are. not you guys who worship him, but I couldn't spend time on that one because the guy under him says, you spend your whole life hating on one of the greatest humans of all time. One of the greatest humans?
Humans, AOH. Humans, not athletes, not basketball players. Humans. This is almost in tantamount to what we talked about a year or so ago about Dan Le Batard in the comments and the comparisons to someone like Muhammad Ali and the things that Muhammad Ali did outside the boxing ring, and comparing LeBron James and some of the things that he may have done outside of the basketball arena, and comparing this, or somehow it being comparable.
Let me finish this quote. Braun's greatness off the court is almost as great as his greatness on the court. Please stop hating on my king.
My king.
My king.
So weird. I'm telling you, man, this is the weird stuff that I'm talking about. When I often talk about on that segment, LeBron James fans saying weird things, I'm often alluding to the personal attachment to LeBron James, whereas they feel as if they know him personally. So I say a lot of times, if you read their comments, they use Bron. They abbreviate his name to Bron. But the reason why I highlight that is because they really do believe that they do know him like that. They do believe that, hey, man, it's Bron, my man Bron. That's their king. He's my king.
See, some of the people in the comments are saying, no, there's no way that's real. I just don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. He created, so you're telling me that one of our supporters created a fake account in order to name it. It's like, I love LeBron James or something like that. And then typed this comment. I mean, that's going a long way to make a joke.
I saw the comment you posted. That guy, that channel, LBJ for
no, don't shout these fucking tools out. I don't say their names on purpose.
No, well, I'm just saying, like, this is what we're talking about. When we allude to popularity, a lot of times you'll hear people say, oh, LeBron James is beloved. He's a beloved player. We're just haters. And then they'll allude to things like his popularity. And they'll say, oh, look at how many followers he has on social media. All the people that like his stuff, all the people that, share and comment, all these things. But we've all seen articles and we all know about these bots, right? These quote unquote bots. And I've seen several articles that talks about how, and highlights how the quote unquote popularity on social media, as far as how many followers or subscribers these people may or may not have, a lot of this stuff is artificial. A lot of this stuff isn't real. And like I alluded to, and I always tell you guys, look at the fan base for LeBron James. One of the reasons why I do that segment, or I chose to start that segment, was to highlight the weird things that people are saying, but also to highlight the kinds of people, the base that we're talking about, that write these kinds of things. Do you guys
Cultists.
really believe that these are grown-ups or people that have, more important things to worry about in their lives that are going to say this crazy stuff? I've gotten emails that I haven't even shared on this platform. I just got an email the other day, an email, not a comment, or an email. Someone emailed me and talked about these really crazy things. So, we talk about what these people are doing, and this is the LeBron James fan base. These are young kids, man. This is why they don't have videos or put themselves on camera oftentimes.
Let's just clarify one part of that comment. You spend your whole life hating on one of the greatest people. I spend a couple hours a week during the season, and when I'm breaking down games, I spend more than a couple of hours a week. But let's not get carried away. I don't actually think this is. In some ways, I think it's really important, and in other ways, I know it isn't. I spend a few hours a week on this. I don't spend my life on it. Whereas you fanboys actually spend your lives worshiping somebody that you don't fucking know. Which brings me to, why am I here? I'm exposing lies, and I'm doing it with evidence. And if you don't like that, well, you don't want to be here. Now, my mandate for all of you who are going to say, why are you guys still talking about LeBron James? My mandate for this channel is to expose LeBron James. So complain all you want. I'm not going to stop.
Absolutely. I mean, think about, when they always compare LeBron James and how great he is compared to Michael Jordan, you're choosing the wrong athlete. When we talk about what Michael Jordan is like when he steps out into the public forum, you talk about how he's celebrated and respected and honored, man. When LeBron James goes out into the public forum, like I said, you never know the reactions that he's going to get because he's not as well respected as Michael Jordan, man. That's just the facts.
Yeah, go watch someone like Barry Sanders conduct himself. Go watch Michael Jordan, like Sports and Fitness Rants said. I mean, people who actually are the GOATs don't gotta tell other people, and they act like they've been here before. Oh, dude, do you want to talk about No Chill Gil? Because I don't know what you got into. I really don't.
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, man, shout out to my man AOH for bringing this up. Once again, shout out to everybody out there that's seen the video that I did the other day about the interaction between me, Gilbert, and Race. Now, I don't want to go too deep into the actual point that I was trying to make to him because obviously he doesn't understand what I'm trying to say to him. But the point that I was highlighting in the video that I did was that I had sent a message to him in reaction to a clip that he had on Instagram. And once again, it goes back to the jail stuff. So he's making a joke and laughing about the conditions that the jail was, the condition that he was living in the jail. Now, let's understand something, guys, also that Gilbert Arenas was there for what, a day maybe? I don't even know if he was there for a day or two. So it wasn't like this man was there for 10 years or 5 years or something, all right? So let's be real about when he's complaining about here. He's laughing about the—
Oh, he's saying the conditions were crazy? Like
he's talking about how hard, everything's metal, they're all, man, it's like, yeah, he's talking about how like there should have been better cushions there. He's making jokes about the food. He's talking about how they gave him cereal.
Does he understand that he went to prison?
So he's talking about the jail, and he's making a joke about this stuff because this is what Gilbert Arenas does. Anyway, I sent him a message, and I was breaking down and explaining, things and laughing about it, and I basically told him to grow up. That's why I told him in the message, man, right? So he sent me a
People
message
understand the
back.
jail is not a reward.
Thank you very much, AOH. That's exactly what I said in my video, in my response to him, because he responded to me talking about LeBron James and Michael Jordan stuff, calling me the Jordan guy and talking about he's a Jordan fan and he has Jordan #1 and that, I'm just a hater. He used the word hate in his response 3 times in his response. Not only did he use the word hate 3 times in his response, he used 6 emojis in his response, 6 crying, laughing emojis, because he thought what he was saying was so funny to me that he had to keep putting the crying, laughing emojis in there, which I always tell you guys is the emoji of choice from the LeBron James fans whenever they write a comment that they think they said something funny in, and they were so witty and they got you, like you were talking about before, AOH, they always think they got you. Ha ha ha. And they put a bunch of crying, laughing emojis after their comment because they're the only ones laughing at what they wrote. Meanwhile, I told Gilbert and Rants, like I've always said, we're not laughing with you, fool. We're laughing at you, man.
So victimhood mentality has reached the point where people expect to have a good time in jail.
Exactly. And I said that jail is supposed to be a deterrent, to stop people, to make people think about breaking certain laws and doing certain things in society, right? It's supposed to be checks and balances, kind of like no one said it's perfect, but that's what it's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be a deterrent. You're not supposed to think about, you know what? Even if I did this and I go to jail, it ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying? I can go do X, Y, Z. You're supposed to not like the circumstance or the conditions that you're living in. And I told him in my response to him that the conditions that I was under in the military, well, I'm sure were much worse than the conditions he was dealing with for his, couple of days in jail, if that. I don't even realize if he was in there for more than multiple days.
No. I've been, and I tell you, the correctional officers were the worst part. Now that Gill's complaining about metal and shit, yeah, the furniture wasn't comfortable now to come to think about it, but I'm not delusional enough to expect there to be comfortable furniture. But weren't you a correctional officer?
Yes, I was correctional for 15 years, man.
Okay. I'm not saying you were like this, but goddamn, these guys wanted to fucking ruin your day. You couldn't do anything right.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, see, that was all part of what we talked about in a couple of lives ago, right? The respect and how you treat, right, the other inmates when you're in these scenarios. So I was in a position of power. I had authority over a lot of these guys that were older than me, guys that may have thought they were tougher than me, guys that thought they had more status than I did in the real world. But once again, how you treated people was often going to get you the response that you're looking for. But like you mentioned, AOH, I worked with several guys where we would have to have conversations and tell people, listen, man, don't put me in a position where I have to do something, or once again, you're going to make my day harder than it needs to be because you want to go out here and give guys a hard time and you want to bust guys' balls for no reason, man. So I understand absolutely what you're saying because we used to do these kinds of things. If you wanted to act a certain way in the jail, we had multiple ways of getting after you.
Let's read a super chat. And I put a random one on the screen, but here is the real Siberius. I said it on my channel. If the media stops talking about LeBron, I will never mention his name again. Hey, I could go for that. That will never happen though. So I'm not worried. Yeah. Deal. Stop. Let's have the media stop promoting this fraud and I'll stop countering their lies. Now, maybe I'll keep breaking down their footage, but I won't ever say his name. I'll agree to that.
I don't understand this angle that they, like you keep saying, that they keep trying to hit people with about why you're making content or as if you're hating or all you're going to have
hating on us.
Content.
You haters, stop hating on us.
I don't get this angle because like I said, when you talk about the content that we do, if we talk about more specifically the content that you create, you're putting out actual video footage. What you're highlighting is the video footage. You're highlighting examples in the video footage. You're giving people the facts. Unfortunately, the LeBron James fans, they're not into the facts. They never come with the facts. They come with the emotions. They come with the feelings. This is why they make personal attacks. This is why they say weird things. This is why what they do say is not actual real. You look into this stuff, you research it, it doesn't make sense. Google anything or look into anything Nick Wright says. It doesn't add up. Why not? Because he's not giving you the full context. You can't give somebody a half of the facts and then expect them to be educated. That's what I'm saying. Nick Wright, all these guys need to give out the full facts and then have people form their own opinions, man. That's what it's about.
You know, and self-researched NBA facts is really good about showing exactly why Nick Wright is lying. And I actually was inspired by one, and I took it a step further, and I did a video that shows that the Warriors had a harder time with everyone on their way to the finals than they did with LeBron James. Like, come on, man. Come on, LeBron. You can't be the easiest competition in the finals for everyone else, which has happened multiple times. The number of times that he's been swept in the finals indicates that. Anyway, I wanted to read something. He at DG says he didn't go to prison or jail. He was in a holding cell. I wondered.
See?
I wondered, but I don't know anything about it. But
I mean, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? Listen, let's understand something, ladies and gentlemen. We've said this before. Let's not downplay getting arrested or being in these kinds of scenarios where you possibly could be going to jail or prison. Let's also understand there's a huge difference between jail and prison, ladies and gentlemen. Huge, huge, huge difference, okay? Prison is a scary, scary, scary place, ladies and gentlemen. Make no freaking mistakes about it. You don't want to end up in these scenarios, man. You don't want to be nose to nose or end up being in a scenario like this. You don't want to be there. That's the point that I was making to this man. You're joking about a serious situation, and you're still joking about it when you're still going through this process. He's not done with the legal process, and you're making jokes about something that's really serious when you haven't even experienced how bad it could really get, man. Like I said, I was around. Listen, when you work in a jail, the one thing about working in a jail, and we talk about the jail versus prison scenario and me being a correction officer all those years, is that you have to go to jail to get to prison. You can't go straight to prison. So all of those dangerous individuals are going through a jail. I've been around the murderers and the rapists and the weirdos and all these crazy people. I remember they closed down a mental facility around the jail that I worked. They closed down the mental facility. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? A lot of those mental patients hit the streets, right? They didn't have no place to go. And where'd they end up? They ended up in the jails, man. So once again, I'm dealing with some of these crazy individuals that look at you with those dead eyes. I always tell people, man, the scariest people that I came in contact with when in those jails was not the scary gang members and all these crazy people that, you knew about. It was those people that you weren't expecting, the people that you never knew about, those crazy individuals that at any given moment, they could just snap on you, man, and start tagging you. Those were the guys that we were worried about in those scenarios, the guys that had to walk around in cuffs and shackles with 2-3 officers and a supervisor around them. Them's are the dudes you have to worry about, man.
Come to the Sunday show to learn about holding cells, jail, and prisons. I'm going to read It's Not That Serious with a very generous super chat. Says, salute. What I find fascinating is LeBron fans go to channels that don't support his narrative, his narrative generated status, to tell other content creators to stop hating on LeBron. They truly do not understand the irony of that, nor how stupid they look. Their brain capacity, there's a lot that they aren't understanding, and that's just one of many. And, these guys, they're like, oh, no, what's going to happen when LeBron retires? I don't think that those guys, I don't know. I'm just wondering how upset they're going to be because they don't actually watch the games. I guess they're going to be sad not to hear ESPN lie about things for them, but don't act like you guys are going to miss watching the games.
Hey, wait, remember, man, the one thing that they can never say about what we do on these lives, man, no matter what day it is, I don't give a damn if it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, it don't matter what day it is. No, there's one thing that they can never say, that we ain't giving the facts out here. And that's why all the people that are the true supporters of these live streams, they continue to come through these live streams because we're giving you the facts, man, and we're keeping it real out here. So they can say whatever they want. They can cry and moan about us doing this and talking about this or that. But you can't say we're lying. You can't say we're making up stories about LeBron James just for content. You can't say any of that stuff. That's the realness right there. Yo, remember just the other live stream. We had that dude Tariq. He came through, and I was talking about Tim Duncan, and he made a comment saying, "Oh, wait a second, what is Sports and Fitness Rants talking about? I'm going to fact check him." This is what he typed in the chat about Tim Duncan. All right, something that I said about Tim Duncan when we were talking. So he made a point to say he was going to fact check me because he didn't believe what I was saying. Now, am I always 100% on the money with the things that I've saying, maybe the years, the dates, or some of the numbers that I may have said? Absolutely not. But once again, this dude said he was going to fact check me. And what does he do? He goes and checks the facts, and he finds out that I'm on the money with this stuff. And then he says, yeah, he was right. And I've told him, listen, I'm not here to lie to you guys purposely. I'm not here to, not give you the honest facts as I see it, what I grew up watching, the perspective that I'm giving you. I'm not here to lie about none of this stuff. I gain nothing from that. Nothing. I'm trying to give you a true factual perspective, and I'm trying to give you some historical context and some historical facts here. That's what I'm trying to give you. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to believe what I'm saying or understand what I'm even saying. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not trying to purposely dissuade you. The difference I'm telling you from guys like Nick Wright, the Shannon Sharps, the Stephen A. Smiths, the Colin Cowherds, they're not genuine. They're not authentic. They're disingenuous. They're not trying to give you the full facts. They are trying to mislead you on purpose to get you down their path to where they're trying to go.
King Speech says, FYF said you guys obsessed, but this amount, what? Okay, but the amount of anti-Jordan Braun glazing content on his TikTok is higher than LeBron. So I don't do TikTok, but back when, someone was talking about FYF talking shit about our channels or my channel, I started a video about it and then I thought he's not worth it. But when I started it, I went and I looked at his channel because I suspected exactly what I found. 50% of it is LeBron glazing and 50% of it is hating on a man who's been retired for 30 years. And there's a couple of directions to go with this. What are you going to do when LeBron retires, since your content is about LeBron? If you think that we won't have anything to talk about when LeBron retires, then what are you going to do? And the second aspect of that is you talk about someone who's been retired for 30 years. Why would we not be able to continue talking about somebody who is retired for 1 year?
Exactly. Give me a break, man. These guys are a joke.
You are fucking dumb, FYF. Just flat out dumb.
Goodness gracious. That's so true, man. So true.
Praise the Dawn. Read it for me. Por favor.
Absolutely. Shout out to my man Praise the Don for coming through. LeBron fans call everyone quote unquote haters, but they hate on everyone who has a better record than LeBron in the finals. They disrespect Kobe and spread misinformation about Michael Jordan's career. Absolutely. Shout out to Praise the Don, man. That's one of the main reasons why people like me and AOH are here, because of the lies that's being spread.
And oh shit, you know what? I don't know if I sent Jim the link. I communicated with him, and I'll bet you my stupid old ass didn't email it. So keep yelling at people while I make sure you send this to him.
Oh, absolutely, man. That's my specialty. This is what we do. We come out here and we give the facts. Like I'm always trying to tell you guys, man. You know what I'm saying? Like my man, what's up? What's up going on? Lion Tamer, shout out to you guys, man. Mountain Skies, what's going on? I love you guys out there for always coming through, man. It means a lot for real. My man King Speech Roll, always coming through. Like I said, it means a lot for you guys to continue to come through all the time when we do these lives, man. Like I said, it's truly, truly humbling, man.
All right, it's sent. We are good. All right, let me remember what else have we not talked about? Do you while we wait for Jim to come in, because I guess we're gonna get to all my footage after the data feed from Jim. What do you think about the Blazers selling for over $4 billion? Did you even hear about it? Because like I had to go to the podcast of what's his goddamn fuck my fucking old brain. Anyway, it was somebody's podcast, and he just mentioned it in passing. Did you know about it? What do you think?
I think I remember hearing that it was like up for sale and something like that. But I didn't know that it was finally actually the sale had went through. $4 billion? Is it $4 billion?
I mean, we're talking about.
And if you think about the Portland Trailblazers historically, I mean, my goodness, they're not one of those historic teams. You know, they've been around for a long, long time, the Portland Trailblazers. And, you know, they're still out there searching. You know, they haven't won a championship since Bill Walton, man. I mean, it's been a long time. Like, they're like the New York Knicks, man. The New York Knicks ain't won a championship since the 70s, man. It's been a long-ass time. And the New York Knicks are one of those teams, too, where, you know, they're worth a lot of money, the New York Knicks, not necessarily because they're putting a good product on the court, even though the last couple of seasons we understand what the New York Knicks have been doing. But, I mean, like I said, the Portland Trailblazers, they ain't been relevant. They ain't been doing nothing, I mean, in years, man.
Yeah, that's interesting whenever people talk about small market teams, because people still call San Antonio a small market team. And yet, in my mind, I remember them more than a lot of teams. The Portland Trailblazers, I remember because of Jordan versus Drexler. And I also remember the Portland Trailblazers against Kobe's Lakers.
But you know what's interesting about what you're just saying, though, Airways there? when you talk about the Portland Trailblazers, and we talk about the small market and the big market stuff. To me, when people talk about the quote unquote small market teams, or you mentioned the San Antonio Spurs, I always felt like it was one of those things where I don't know if it really mattered if you were in a quote unquote small market as far as like the city, but I feel like the fan base, what's the fan base like? Because we talk about the New York Knicks, right? And yes, there is a New York Knicks fan base out there, but we talk about, some of these other places that are not big, like in New York, like in Indiana, let's say, for example, or Utah. You talked about the Portlands, but their fan bases, how they were at these games. I remember, like I said, speaking from the 90s perspective, these teams being very loud in these arenas. So yes, they may have been a small market. And yeah, you're talking about, maybe some of these players don't want to play for a quote unquote small market team. But when you talk about the fan bases of some of these quote unquote small markets, because in some of these scenarios, that's the only major sports team that they have. So they're rabid about these teams.
Was Chicago a big market before Jordan got there? Did people consider Chicago a big market? I don't know, but I'll
they were
have
a Bears team. They were a Bear city.
Okay.
The hockey, the Blackhawks.
I suppose that helps. Anyway, let me bring in Jim from Self-Researched NBA Facts.
Oh, Jim's in the house, yes.
Let me read the synopsis. And then I'll let you take it from there. Welcome, Jim from Self-Researched NBA Facts. Michael Jordan being on the best team of everything you can think of: 1988 All-NBA, 1996 All-Defense, 1992 Olympic team, 1980s All-Decade team, 1990 East All-Star team, and the best actual team, the 1996 Bulls. The point of it is not only was Jordan not in a weak era, but he played in the best era with the best players, or else none of this would be possible, which is an interesting point. What do you mean by that, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it right there. Good morning, gentlemen. Yeah, I'm saying that if Jordan is in this weak era that you hear people talk about, then how is it possible he's on the best team of everything? And it isn't just because of Michael Jordan. It's the teams. It's all of it. Like I put together in the video certain teams I would just extract out that look pretty good. But for example, you brought up the 1990 East All-Star team. Now there's teams that have maybe stronger players at the top, but there's no All-Star team in NBA history that had 11 top 75 players in it. 11, every one of them. And they're mostly in their primes. The only exception was Joe Dumars. He's got to be a top 100 player. There's no Kenny Anderson or some, Jeff Mullins, some random guy making a one-time All-Star. These guys are all legit stars on that team. The 1988 All-NBA team, I'm not even sure how that's up for debate. That's Magic, Jordan, Bird, Barkley, and Olajuwon. That's 4 of the top 10 players of all time. There's no other All-NBA team that has that. And then the Olympic team, we've heard a lot recently because of that 24 team, but, I don't need to go through that one. We all know the Dream Team was easily the best Olympic team of all time. And then you got the All-Decade team, which is Jordan, Magic, Bird, Barkley, and Kareem. I mean, there's 4 of the top, 5 or 6 players of all time. It's just anywhere you turn, that's the best. And when it came to the All-Defensive team, which is very interesting, there's 2 choices in my mind, and Jordan's on either one of them. The 93 team was Michael Jordan, Joe Dumars, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Hakeem Olajuwon. But if you like 96 better, that's Gary Payton, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and David Robinson. I mean, pick your poison, but those are the best ever. And again, he's got to be in the best era to make any of this happen. And somebody else brought something out that I didn't even realize, but they also said maybe the best draft class ever. And I would say, yeah, I would agree with that. That's got to be the best draft class of all time with Olajuwon, Stockton, Barkley, Olajuwon, Jordan, who else on there? Otis Thorpe. I mean, there's some really, Alvin Robertson. That's a great class. Probably the best ever, I would think.
Yo, Jim came
in. What do you add to that?
I mean,
Came in
yeah, some
blazing.
people like the 60s team, like the like the what was it, the 67 All-Star team or All-NBA team was Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Rick Barry, Elgin Baylor, and Will Chamberlain. That's a strong team, no doubt. I just don't see how you get around Bird, Magic, Jordan, Olajuwon, and Barkley. That's just too good, in my opinion.
Well, in
So
order for my takeaway that is blatantly obvious here is that if you want to say that Jordan was played in a weak era, then you have to dismantle the top 75 list, the top 100 list, all these lists, because those people are in his era.
Exactly.
They can't have both. They can't be the weakest era and have the top players on the list in it.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the one that really stood out to me, like I said, was the all defense. There's just nothing close to those teams in the 90s. I think there was one team that I wrote down, and it was the 2000 team, which was Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, and Alonzo Mourning. That's a really good team.
Yeah.
But is it better than Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, David Robinson, Gary Payton, or Olajuwon and Dumars? Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I mean, listen, we always talk and mention how the 90s, when you mention the defense and you focus on the defense, Jim, we always mention how, like, you can argue that the 90s had the best defensive player at every position in the history of the NBA. These are arguable and debatable players.
Right,
when you're talking about the Gary Paytons and the Scottie Pippens and the Michael Jordans, the Dennis Rodmans, the Hakeem Olajuwons, or the David Robinsons.
Yep.
You can debate all of these guys as the greatest defensive player at their position at any given time, man. So like you said, the stoutness of the 90s is undeniable. This is part of the reason why a lot of us were out here confused when they kept trying to talk about Michael Jordan being 6-0 because there was no competition. We were like, wait a second. That was why people highlighted his 6-0 and the 2 3-peats, because they were like, my God, look at the level of competition that this man had to go through in order to achieve these levels. You know, so you're on the money when you talk about a lot of these all-NBA teams and you mentioned the 92 Dream Team, and you mentioned some of these other teams. I mean, you said there are other eras that you could debate, maybe like you said, the 60s, when you talk about the great players that played in the 60s. If we talk about, maybe a Oscar Robertson or a Jerry West or a Bob Cousy or, someone like an Elgin Baylor and the Will Chamberlains and, some of these guys that you mentioned, these are really great. That's a great lineup of great players.
We were spoiled. And we didn't know we were spoiled at the time.
Right.
We didn't know things were going to get worse. But when these kids today don't know shit about David Robinson, because he doesn't even make it into the conversation compared to all the other people they're busy shitting on from the past.
Yeah, and it isn't just sports; it's everything. We were spoiled with. I don't get cartoons. How cool were cartoons when you were a kid? Now look at them; they're total trash. I'm just throwing that out as an example.
But Jim, you're right. You're onto something. Keep going, man. With the rants is what we do here, man. You talk about sports. You had 3 legit dynasties going on at one time. You had the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL going on in the 90s. You had the New York Yankees going on in the 90s and what some of the things that they were doing. And of course, you had the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls doing their thing in the NBA. So you talk about a lot of these teams and what some of these teams were doing at one time in the sports and the culture, the world, the impact of everything overall. You mentioned the cartoons. I mean, you talk about something like Voltron or Transformers or G.I. Joe and, some of the things that, these cartoons, the impact that they had. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, like you didn't know which one to watch on. There was ABC, NBC, and CBS. They all had great cartoons. Like, which one do you watch? It was so good, Yep. Just we were spoiled, like AOH said, and we didn't know it at the time that it was going to get so much worse on so many levels. A lot of it has to do with this narcissistic attitude so many people have now that if they don't see it, it couldn't have been that great. They don't pay homage to anything anymore at all, and I just think that's a big mistake.
No, you're right. And why were we, like you said, LH, why were we lucky and fortunate? Because those guys went out there and gave the effort. They showed up to work. I say the same thing all the time, man. When I was a kid growing up and you looked at or they gave you a preview of the game that was about to come on, you did not have to worry if these guys were going to load manage on you. You didn't have to worry about that. You could say, hey, we're going to go to my friend's house and watch this game. We're going to go to their house. We're going to watch the game. We're going to ride our bike over to my friend's house. You're going to go watch the game. Yeah, man. The Bulls are coming on. The Spurs are coming on. The Point Trail Blazers are coming on. The Utah Jazz are coming on. The Rockets, it don't matter. You knew your favorite player was going to show up so you guys can feel comfortable about going to your friend's house and watching that game. Now you never know what's going to happen.
Biggest challenge was, were we going to play before or after? Because you had to watch the game, but we also had to play.
Yeah, and you know, the difference in styles back then too, where some teams are really physical, like to play in the paint, some like to run. You know, some are more of a finesse team. They had shooters. So many did. Now it's all the same. Everybody's camped out at the three-point line. One player drives in the paint, either kicks it out or goes in for a layup, uncontested or one-on-one against a shorter player. It's the same thing over and over and over. I don't even know how anybody can stomach watching this stuff anymore. I can't. I just can't. You know, I wish I could. I love the NBA, but I just cannot watch a whole game. I just can't do it.
These people, you know, there's a thing. People just come up with phrases and buzzwords, and they think that solves everything. And the game's evolved. How?
Yeah.
No. How? You mean you go back to playing rules that toddlers use when they're learning how to play basketball? That's evolution? Pretty sure that's the opposite of evolution.
Remember you used to have those commercials? I love this game. Remember they used to talk about that? I love this game. That was like the slogan for the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, this is what they promoted. They also had a slogan called Fantastic. The NBA is fan, F-A-N. They were shouting out. That was a homage to the fans. Fantastic. And these are the kinds of things that we remember growing up. What they're alluding to is the dynamic, right? The bond between the fans and the game of basketball and what that means to the game.
Leo, I can answer that question for you. If Jordan played in a weak era, then how is Pippen so great? They make Pippen out to be the reason that the Bulls won championships. Well, clearly there were only two. There were two talented people, and they were both on the Bulls. Question answered. Mystery solved.
Yep. That's right.
Robin, read Mr. Shanny, please.
Absolutely. A shout to Mr. Shanny coming through as usual. For me, the most annoying narrative push by scrubnificent fans is the Jordan didn't win anything before Pippen. They lost 3 straight years to Detroit with Pippen. Yeah. Right. Once again, these are narratives. Like we talk about the narratives. Whenever you hear anybody say these things, it lets you know that they did not go watching this stuff or they're not giving you the facts. They're not looking at it from a historical perspective. Because like I've mentioned before, you name me the other all-time great player, right? That's in the conversation, the greatest player of all time that had to go through the battles like Michael Jordan did, man. Think about his draft class, some of his contemporaries. They didn't have to deal with those kinds of conditions. I mean, just think about the players that Larry Bird was playing with when he first started those first several years in the league. It's a different team, man. Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone came in and played with John Stockton, man. So when you talk about some of these teams and some of the great players that played around that time, look at the players that they played with. Look at what they had to deal with, what they had to go through. Michael Jordan had to go through those battles. And people now, they're trying to knock him for going through those battles by saying, oh, where was he before Scottie Pippen?
The Bulls didn't win anything until Scott Williams. So maybe we need a documentary on Scott Williams, because that's what happened in the draft, by the way, not free agency, but as the Bulls did, just slowly and patiently drafting every year. It was the roster change of Scott Williams the year that they finally won. So it has to be Scott Williams.
I want everybody to understand, when you talk about the great players, and there's no knock on these great players, we're just talking about the dynamic between when Michael Jordan had to go through and how we always give him credit for the grind. When Bill Russell came in the league in 1957, he wasn't even Rookie of the Year. His teammate was Rookie of the Year. So we have to understand the dynamic of what some of these players came in and some of the great players that they came in playing with early in their careers.
Yeah. You know, I was going to add to what he was saying about Pippen there. So in the 1989 closeout game against Detroit, the Bulls are down 3-2. They lost that game. All right. That game in 1990, Game 7 against Detroit. How many baskets did Scottie Pippen score between those two games?
I'm sure you can tell us.
One.
Jeez.
One basket. Yeah. He took the elbow in the first minute against Lane Beer, out for the rest of the game, and then he was 1 for 10 in the 1990 Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals. There's Pippen right there. There's his contribution that Jordan couldn't do anything before. They just take that coincidence that Pippen came in at that. You think Pippen had anything to do with them winning 50 games, or maybe Jordan having an MVP, Defensive Player of the Year type season? Maybe that had a little more to do with it. And it wasn't just Pippen. That's the other thing that bugs me, is Horace Grant was almost equally as vital to that team, and he gets always shoved aside. If you want to say Pippen and Grant, at least you'd have a little more credence to it, but just Pippen, they make him out to be some superstar. I just don't get it. Now, he was a great player. He was the best small forward of the 90s, no doubt about it. But come on, you really think that Jordan only started winning because of Pippen? And then the Phil Jackson thing, that's a whole, it drives me nuts.
You know what's interesting about Pippen is Pippen, with his like threats to leave and being dissatisfied and etc. Jordan was dealing with a LeBron on his team. Now today we have Pippen was the sidekick, and he was creating this drama while Jordan was just, taking the high road, keeping his mouth shut, dealing with it. Today it's the sidekicks that have to deal with the star, always talking about leaving. And that's shit to deal with. Everybody always worries about what LeBron is dealing with. How do you think it feels to be his fucking teammate? How do you think it felt for Michael Jordan to have Scottie's whiny ass as a teammate? It's like, geez, is he going to show up this week, or is he not going to show up this week? Is he going to show up next month, next year? I don't know. That's what LeBron's teammates deal with constantly, except that it's the guy who's supposedly the face of the league who's causing the drama. That is not someone to look up to, people.
No, and Pippen, they told him, don't sign this contract, Pippen. This is what we're offering you, but just wait. You'll be worth more later. He signs it and then complains he's underpaid. Well, why just sign it then, you dumbass?
I mean, absolutely. And you know what's funny too? They often talk about Michael Jordan, how he wasn't a nice guy, a nice teammate. And AOH, you're talking about, the treatment of being a teammate of LeBron James and how you should feel and those kinds of things. You often hear another narrative that LeBron James fans will talk about the treatment being Michael Jordan's teammate. Oh, look at Michael Jordan. They like to talk about he punched Steve Kerr. They like to talk about the language that Michael Jordan used. And, oh, look at Michael Jordan's teammate said he wasn't a nice guy. He was cursing at them and all this stuff. I always tell you guys the same thing. The one thing that can't be denied is the results that they were going for. The results were there. And the one thing that Michael Jordan always did for his teammates is he always took the blame. He took the accountability. He shielded them from all of this stuff. He shielded the Horace Grants and the Scottie Pippens, the B.J. Armstrongs, the John Paxsons, all of these guys, Dennis Rodman, everyone is shielded. Tony Kukoc, they're all shielded by Michael Jordan. So, in turn, they have to deal with what Michael Jordan wants them to do. But in the other turn, Michael Jordan's going to take and shield them from this stuff. And also, he's going to lead by example. So when you talk about LeBron James out there load managing, you hear about LeBron James teams are not really practicing hard like that. No one says that or makes that mistake about Michael Jordan-led teams. They're always talking about how intense the practices were. So if you take all those things into account, like you mentioned, Michael Jordan was actually a great teammate because he asked for the best and he, expected the best from his teammates.
I did an entire video pointing out, hey, you talk shit to me in practice, be mean to me in practice, but when we get on the court, we go to battle together. LeBron talks shit on the court on national television, even when it's his fault, and is not even present at practice from what I hear, maybe occasionally. I guarantee you he's not motivating his team to be better when he's always threatening to leave. But boo fucking who if you had a teammate that fucking talked shit. I can't. And we're complaining about coaches that were hard to play for now. Guess what? That's what the coach's job is. Boo fucking goddamn who. It's called the price of winning.
The coaches now make more than the players did back then. The coaches. It's crazy. It's it's a new time, that's for sure.
Well, let's catch up with some supers.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's see. I've got McZuggins here.
McZuggins.
Go ahead, Robin. You always put more energy into it with me. You cocaine, steroid fueled beast.
More hyped up on them drugs. A shout out to McZuggins for coming through as always. LBJ has 159 million Instagram followers, 56 million on X, only 2.5 million game watchers. Don't want to watch the GOAT. Play, question mark, question mark, question mark. For context, MJ had 10 million watching his regular season games. No wonder ESPN pivoting to NFL. Shout out to McSuggins. This is what I'm alluding to. 159 million Instagram followers, 56 million on X. And then you talk about how many people are actually watching the games. But let's take it a step further and talk about what I'm always highlighting. Something that I highlighted when I was on vacation this year by taking pictures of people not wearing LeBron James sneakers, but in fact wearing Michael Jordan sneakers. So if you have 159 million Instagram followers, 56 million on X, all of these people that are essentially supporters of you, those are your fans, right? This is what you're trying to promote. Then why do I ever see anybody wearing your sneakers? I never really see anybody wearing his jerseys. I don't see this stuff like that. It doesn't add up.
I don't want to. I get nervous every time you say that because I feel like karma's going to come around. I'm going to start seeing people wearing LeBron's, which
it's been 22 years.
I have no idea what the shoe looks like. I'm not worried about that. But someone who would actually wear LeBron's, I just don't want to see them. Oh my God.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, you know, something I just realized, and I might be wrong, but I was just thinking about the eras thing. The leader in points per game all time is Michael Jordan. Who's the leader in assists per game? John Stockton, right? The leader in steals per game is Alvin Robertson. The leader in blocks per game is Hakeem Olajuwon. And at least after the merger, rebounds per game is Dennis Rodman. What era did those guys play in?
Right. Damn, Jim. See, Jim come with the facts again. See, these are facts.
These things, I mean, once you say them out loud, it's like, oh, duh. But we have to say them out loud sometimes.
Yo, I tell people, yo, Jim, well, you're hitting on the head right now, man. And thank you so much, as always, Jim, for coming through and doing the research that you do, man. So many people appreciate you coming through and doing these segments, man. So many people in the chat always look forward to seeing my man Jim come through. You know, when you talk about the things you're alluding to, you know, what you're highlighting is the balance of the 90s. You talk about the great players, you know, all of this stuff. You talked about, you know, the peaks of some of these great players. This is why I'm always telling you guys, when you talk about the 60-win teams in the 90s, that was the most by any era. Because what I'm always said is I've never said that the 90s is the greatest era. That's not the argument that I've ever made or the point that I'm ever trying to make. What you're highlighting is that the 90s was damn sure competitive. That's what it was. You had great players there. You had great coaches. You had systems. Like you mentioned before, teams were balanced. Some teams were high flying. Some teams were up and down the court. Some teams were defensive minded, right? Some teams wanted to push the pace. Some teams ran full court presses, half court traps. Some teams had 3-point specialists. Some teams focused on 3-point shots. Some teams didn't, right? These are the different things. Some teams were post heavy. This is what they did in these teams. But you're talking about the balance of the league. I told you, I did a video, and I did the numbers. From 1990 to 1998, I did not include the lockout shortened season. From 1990 to 1998, the wins between the Eastern Conference versus the Western Conference were almost identical. There were 3 more wins for the East. 3 more. Wow. That's how balanced it was in head-to-heads between the East and the West. When we talk about with the weak Eastern Conference for LeBron James in the 2000s, mid-2000s into the 2010s, the problem is not just about the weak East in comparison to the other Eastern conferences in NBA's history. The problem was the disparity between the East versus the West. The West was so much greater than the East.
It's been that way for 25 years. There's a couple exception seasons in there, but for the most part, the last 25 years, the West has been the better conference. I've never seen anything like it. You know, you'll get a random year. I think maybe it was 2021 or 22. There was one year where that seemed like the East maybe was a little better. But every other year, the last 25 years, it's been the West. I mean, is it the GMs can't draft? I mean, I don't know what it is exactly, but I'd want to play in the East if I was a star player in today's NBA. There's no doubt about it. You know, I'd stay away from the West. But even still, yeah, like you said, it was very balanced. I'm sure the all-NBA players was probably pretty even between the East and the West. And, yeah, that's the thing. Like every year when Michael Jordan, whoever he played in the finals, you were going to get a good team. Not in the last 10, 15 years, there's really only like one team. Like if it wasn't OKC, who would have been a legitimate good team out of the West? I don't know. Who would it have been? I couldn't think of anybody. But in the West, if it wasn't Phoenix, it would have been Seattle, would have been Utah, would have been San Antonio. You were going to get a good team no matter who came through the West.
Yep. Yeah, which is, by the way, demonstrated by how often LeBron got swept once he made it to the finals. Hey, yeah. I could make it through the East. Well, you just showed us how bad the East is, because once you actually met competition, it was real bad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, yeah, I was very upset. I back when I when LeBron went to Miami and all that shit, I think I was still on Facebook back then, and I wasted time like being like, what in the hell's happening? How is it that every team that's good happens to not be in LeBron's conference? It's like, did they redrew the map or something to get all the competitive teams in the West? I mean, I was serious.
Like they gerrymandered the NBA. That's funny. Oh man.
I mean, it's crazy though. Like I said, we can go so long down the path on what Jim has ignited here. He's ignited a brush fire, so to speak. When you talk about, the dynamics here, I make jokes a lot of times on my channel about some of the players that have won MVPs over the last 10 seasons. I'm mentioning guys like James Harden, the Russell Westbrooks, the Joel Embiids. And we talk about some of these guys, and I often laugh and I say those players are not winning MVPs in an era like the 90s. Think about Russell Westbrook, and I'm not knocking Russell Westbrook. He's a great player, but let's think and close our eyes and think in our minds. Russell Westbrook being named an MVP over the names of a Magic Johnson possibly in the early 90s, or a Larry Bird, a Michael Jordan, a Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, a Clyde Drexler. Like some of these guys, a Shaquille O'Neal, some of these guys that were playing in the 90s, is he Karl Malone? Is he winning an MVP of those players? Is James Harden winning an MVP over some of these guys? It's not happening. We laughed about Rudy Gobert, right, for a perfect example, and the amount of Defensive Player of the Year awards that he's won in his career. That's laughable. Laughable when you think about players that played in the 90s. Because another thing that you highlighted, Jim, is the depth of the league. The depth of the league. Think about the 92 Dream Team and the players that are not on that team, that are not on the team. You think about someone like Patrick Ewing, who's on the Dream Team, but think about him never getting the recognition on the defensive end. Think about Patrick Ewing. How many Defensive Player of the Year awards is he having compared to a Rudy Gobert? Who would you take defensively as far as impact and what they could do defensively? I mean, come on, man. It's crazy when we talk about some of the plays that we've seen over the last 10 or 15 years and the amount of awards that some of these guys have gotten. These guys are not – I mean, think about it, man. Marcus Smart was a point guard, the next point guard, the first point guard since Gary Payton to win a Defensive Player of the Year award. This is no knock on Marcus Smart. He's not sniffing a Defensive Player of the Year award in the 90s, man. You're not coming close to this kind of stuff. No. Jim, I saw a video you did. You mentioned a guy like Mookie Blaylock, and you mentioned the prowess of him on the defensive end.
Yeah.
And this man never gets mentioned. That's the depth of the 90s. They don't even mention guys like Kevin Johnson. We don't mention guys like Terry Porter. You don't mention guys like Mark Price. They don't even mention guys like Chris Mullin, who was on the Dream Team. He never gets mentioned in the 90s. These are all guys, because of the depth of the 90s, that made it so hard for these guys to make all defensive teams. They laugh about guys like Dan Marley and his defensive ability, but Dan Marley has more all defensive teams than Klay Thompson. And they talk about how great on defense Klay Thompson is.
Yeah, and that's in a much tougher era, too.
Exactly.
In the 90s. If Mookie Blaylock was playing today, he would have been a fixture in first-team all-defense. But he had Jordan and Gary Payton in front of him. There was nowhere to go. Alvin Robertson in the early 90s. He just wasn't on that level, but he was right there, though. He was amazing defender. Mookie Blaylock, he was great. There's a lot of guys, I did a video on that, too. Alonzo Mourning couldn't make all defense until Robinson, Elijah, those guys aged out. Then you saw Shaq and Mourning get some all defenses. Mutombo, when he aged out. Then they started getting them like Bruce Bowen and Marcus Camby, but they weren't getting them in the 90s. Doug Christie started his career in 1993. He couldn't get one all defense in the 90s. He didn't. Not till the 2000s when he was in his 30s. That's just the reality of it. That's how hard it was in the 90s. Just what it was.
I skipped accidentally super from Jesse Glad Saget. Speaking of 90s dynasties, Yanks, Cowboys, Bulls won 12 titles in the decade. LeBron rooted for all three. He's a born front runner.
Yeah, he's right. He's right.
Oh, and he's an Ohio State fan too, right? Ohio State. Michigan, you don't know what fan he is. He's a
whoever's doing well. Whoever's doing well.
Exactly.
Another praise the Dawn. More skilled. How? Because everyone's chucking threes. Bill Lambert and Jack Sigma were the first stretch bigs. I never heard them say anything about that. Yeah, you look at Bill Lambert had a nice shot, actually.
Yeah.
I want people to remember something. When Michael Jordan tied that record in the NBA for most threes in a half in an NBA, right? He tied the record for most threes, right? You know who he tied that record with? Michael Cooper and Bill Laimbeer. Bill Laimbeer, guys.
No
shit.
So
once again, we have to understand. I remember after the game, they let Michael Jordan know that he tied the record and that Bill Laimbeer was the guy that he tied with. And he said if he would have known that Bill Laimbeer was the guy he tied with because he didn't like Bill Laimbeer like that, he would have went for the record on purpose. Once again, proving and highlighting that these guys are not out there chasing stats or records. They're out there to win and compete.
Yeah. You know, who's a better mid-range shooter for their career, LeBron James or Hakeem Olajuwon? These guys could shoot, but that's just not how the game was played at that time. They had a nice 15-foot jumper. Robinson had a nice one. Mourning had a nice one. They just didn't play like that. They had to play in the paint because that's where the action was. It's just a different game. But now they're not skilled because they can't do all this crazy dribble. They don't have handles because they weren't allowed to carry back then. But people don't care about that stuff. It comes back to narcissism for me. It's what it is. They will never give anything that they don't see with their own eyes any kind of recognition. It's just a huge mistake. But I never heard people in the 80s and 90s pissing all over Bob Pettit and Bob Cousy. I just never heard it. Now, maybe it happened, but I don't remember any of that stuff. People were paying homage to these guys. And it's just a completely different time right now.
We have another contradiction. Which is it? Are we celebrating all the ridiculous dribbling, or are we going to go with the Mind the Game podcast narrative that you're supposed to score with as few moves as possible and be efficient, which is silly coming from Luka or LeBron, who pretended like they believe in that because both of them dribble the air out of the ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just, again, it's like choose an argument. No, they go with whichever one is there. I got a couple more supers to catch up with. Jim, right. You want me to let you go? Or do you want
before I go, I just wanted to give everybody, I don't know how I didn't say, but the 1990 East All-Star picked me out the weak link on this team. Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Scottie Pippen, Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing, Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman, Charles Barkley, Dominique Wilkins, and Joe Dumars. The only player not a top 75 was Joe Dumars. I mean, that is, to me, was the best All-Star team ever. 11 top 75 players, and they're all in the Hall of Fame. I mean, and every one of these guys is multiple-time All-Stars. This is no one-and-done team right here. And that's in the 90s, for all them people hating on the 90s. There you go. Not the 80s, the 90s.
And Joe Dumars is a Finals MVP winner, guys. Understand that. 1989 Finals MVP.
Yeah, I think he should have been top 7. There's a few guys I would have kicked out of top 75 to make room for like maybe a Dwight Howard or Alonzo Mourning, maybe Joe Dumars. But anyway, all right, you guys, enjoy your afternoon. It was nice talking to you, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks for the data drop.
Man. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, got it.
Self-researched NBA facts for people that want to go to the channel. We have Gemini Girl. Go ahead, Robin.
Yeah, shout out to Gemini Girl, a true supporter of our channel. Thank you for always coming through. Not only did Jordan say Pippen was his MVP, he gave Pippen the car that came with the winning MVP award. Absolutely, winning the MVP award. Absolutely, that's right. Shout out to Gemini Girl coming with the facts. The 1997 Finals MVP, you guys remember that ceremony? Michael Jordan giving the car to Scottie Pippen, man. I remember Michael Jordan giving money, a portion of his money for winning the slam dunk contest early in his career to his teammates. I remember in 1991 when the Chicago Bulls beat the LA Lakers for their first NBA championship. Michael Jordan, they wanted Michael Jordan to do that I'm going to Disney World commercial. They wanted him to say that after they won. And Michael Jordan said that he would only do it if they would include the entire team, for that commercial.
I remember that. The real Siberius with another chat. This is probably from earlier in the show when we were talking about, LeBron throwing people under the bus and Jordan, coaching people hard during practice, even getting physical with them. He says tough love and bullying are not the same thing, which do we really have to explain that? But maybe we do. And since we're going to anyway.
No, we do.
My old ass will forget what I'm saying. I have to cut you off.
No, go. My bad, go.
Tough love. What's the motivation behind tough love? You want a better result. You want that person to improve. And in the case of basketball, we're talking about you want that person to improve both for themselves and for the team so that you win. When you bully somebody or throw them under the bus or make sure that the world is looking at the person next to you, that's not about winning. That's not about improving them. That's not about improving your chances of winning. That's about making sure that everyone thinks it's someone else's fault.
Yep.
It's not a winning attitude. And you clowns come on here and say that LeBron James is a great person. You can see on the basketball court that he is not a good person off the basketball court. He is more concerned with trying to distract people from seeing his mistakes to treat other people like shit than he is interested in winning.
Absolutely, LH. That was a great rant you just went on right there. I'm glad that I didn't make you forget what you had to say. Forgive me. You run the money. I mean, as always, it made me think about the difference that we laugh about a lot of these scenarios for quote unquote old heads and like the way that we were brought up, a lot of us back in the days. And the thin line between, getting hit as a kid and abusing, or getting abused as a child, and the difference between, child abuse and getting slapped upside your head and having some discipline put on you by your parents. And we always laughed. And you just mentioned the result. My parents whooped my ass when I was a kid, man. Like I said, I was also 4 boys, man. But once again, I always tell people, I earned those ass whoopings. I did something to get those ass. My parents weren't just whooping my ass for no reason. That's child abuse. Once again, I was doing dumb stuff because me and my brothers were knuckleheads. They used to call us like Bebe's kids. We were always messing around. My mom take us out to cow doors, and then we go in the clothing rack, knocking over the clothing racks, doing all kinds of stupid stuff, man. We're always carrying on. But once again, the reason why my parents had to whoop our ass and do these things is because they were looking for a result. And what was the result? The result was they were trying to get us to understand that if you keep doing these things and act this way, that there's going to be a consequence. So there's associated deterrent there. I'm supposed to think before I do something stupid because I know my dad's going to slap me upside my head or my mom is going to do something to me. So when you're in school and you're going through scenarios, I often thought about my parents' reaction to this stuff. Like, damn, man, when I get home, man, my dad, man, it ain't going to be good when he gets home from work, man. It's going to be bad. It's a deterrent there. He's supposed to do these things, man. You have to have. But my dad never abused me. I never felt like my parents were overboard. And like I said, just hitting me for no reason, because then you would wonder why. Why am I getting hit upside my head when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing? You're looking for a result.
With Jim on, we were talking about the best eras. I personally am not that concerned about which era people want to choose. I'm concerned about people looking at LeBron James and thinking that that's a man. That's what concerns me. And I'm concerned about them emulating that behavior. I'm concerned about what that means for society.
Yeah. Right. And that's why a lot of times we've mentioned the, society in a lot of this stuff, how bad society is getting. I mean, I remember the first time I heard that they banned dodgeball in schools. I almost lost my mind. I couldn't understand for the life of me what we were trying to accomplish by banning dodgeball in schools. Of all the things we could think about in schools, there were problems in schools, we're focused on dodgeball. Dodgeball wasn't a problem with my childhood. I don't think about my childhood and think, damn, man, that dodgeball, man, back in 1988 really jacked me up. Come on, man. I think about dodgeball with almost like, oh my God, that was so fun. Like we loved that time. I don't think about it like, my goodness, I can't believe
I don't even consider it a contact sport.
Yeah, man.
There's a lesson to be learned. If you're getting fucked up in dodgeball, you need to pay attention better.
Yo, I'm telling you right now, I remember when I was in school. Yo, shout out to PS 199. That's a school I went to, man, for a lot of years. And I remember when I was like 3rd or 4th grade, and the older kids used to come out there, man, and they would come out there and pummel us out there on the dodgeball court, man. They would be throwing that ball, and you guys remember the balls that we're talking about. I ain't talking about these soft-ass balls that they try to substitute now, these little foam balls. I'm talking about them rubber balls, man.
The ones that echoed off the walls.
Yo, them things left that swirly mark prints on your face. You get hit by that, man. Come on, y'all know what we're talking about here. That joint hit you in the ear, you can't hear.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not. I guess that's why it got banned. People were losing their hearing. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm getting angry. Believe it or not, people.
Right there. You gotta get slapped in the face with a dodgeball.
Or learn to put your hands up, motherfuckers. Jesus, you don't even have to catch it. Just put your goddamn arm in front of your face.
I mean, kids these days can't even climb fences. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, man. Back in the day, that was what we did. You just climb stuff. Like
How do you escape bullies?
Take it to the mall, take it to the store, and we climbing on everything. We just doing stupid stuff, man.
I gotta read a super from Machiavelli. Signature move and bag peekaboo. Love you guys. No Diddy party. His peekaboo. I don't know if the peekaboo is even as bad as him laying on the ground blinking as if he got hit in the head with a bat when it was like a knee injury or something. What the fuck? And whatever body part it was fake. So, oh shit. We better get to some footage because I'm going to fucking run out of steam.
Yeah.
You got any cocaine I can borrow? You fucking druggie.
You know me, I'm ready to go, man. They know us out. Yo, shout out to all you guys that come through, man. We're going to hit you guys with some video footage right now. My man Airways got a little present for you guys today.
Yeah, read. All right, we'll read Mr. Shanny, but I got people can put. You want to look at the dunks, or do you want to look at my game footage breakdown of LeBron being just as terrible as he always is?
Yo, let's put it in the chat, man. Put it to the chat.
Put it in the chat.
Tell us.
All right, Mr. Shanny. Someone said it in an Uncommon Sense video, but the nickname stays. Scrubnificent fans will now forever be known as the 3 and 6 Mafia.
Yeah, for real. Shout out to Mr. Shanny, man. Shout out to Uncommon Sense. Scrubnificent fan. I love that word, Scrubnificent. That's great, man. For real.
All right. The first person who responded said dunks. So, all right.
All right. Renee43 says dunks. Renee, you are the truest of the supporters. So because you said that, let's go with the dunk footage. You know why the dunk footage is very important, AOH? The dunk footage highlights another narrative. And this is what we've been doing on the show. We've been destroying these narratives because, like someone in the chat said, there is no debate anymore. We're just hitting you guys with the facts here. You know what I'm saying? We're debunking the narratives. We're setting the record straight, what we always do. But in relation to the dunk stuff, they celebrate LeBron James as this all-time great top 3, top 5 dunker. He ain't that dude.
Boring, wide open, boring. And little precursor to the dunking thing. They're not in this video. There's too many people. And that's not what this video is about. But God, you don't react to these names when I say that people don't think about them as dunkers the way that they might deserve to, because you think about them for other things. Grant Hill was a nasty dunker, but that's not really what people think about. But Grant Hill was a nasty dunker when it would be. Steve Francis probably disappeared too soon for him to be a name, but man, that guy was a nasty dunker.
Yeah.
Big shot Robert Horry is known for shooting, but Robert Horry fucking threw the ball down too.
Yeah, Robert Horry had great extension on a lot of those one-handed Statue of Liberty type dunks. Robert Horry, he had a really nice, couple of nice backwards dunks also.
Okay, so here we go. What I found was a Baron Davis 3-on-1 situation in which he dunks on the lone defender. And it reminded me of the overhyping of the Miami Heat 3-on-1 against little 6'1" Jason Terry, in which LeBron's bitch ass actually stood over 6'1" Jason Terry when Jason Terry was in an impossible situation. Yep. And then I saw this dunk by Baron Davis when he was playing for Charlotte. And I thought, well, which of these is actually more impressive, because you always hear about the stupid motherfucking Jason Terry one, which should not be listed as a great dunk at all, much less brought up constantly. But let's take a look at these. As usual, let me get it big. All right, are we ready?
Let's do it.
I was David West to Baron Davis. I mean, the defense. Okay, so let's move on to LeBron, and there's JJ Redick early on auditioning for his future coaching job. Okay. How dare you go stand over somebody? And I back this up for us to take another look. I mean, Jason Terry is absolutely fucked. But then again, so is the defender here. What's the difference? It's a 3-on-1, but Baron Davis goes ahead and takes it. He's the second guy to get the ball, not the third guy to get the ball. The defender has no chance, but Baron Davis at least has the decency not to stand over the guy who's absolutely fucked. And at least Baron Davis is only 6'2". When you're 6'2" or 6'3" and you dunk over somebody, that's something to get pumped about. You're 6'9" in a 3-on-1 dunking on a 6'1" guy who had no chance in hell. And you stand over him? You small dick insecure bitch. And by the way, as far as this being like a revenge dunk after Jason Terry cooked his ass, you're not beating the Mavericks, buddy. Sorry, too late. Now Jason Terry is, been reduced to a traveling player, a journeyman. Now he's on the Celtics. That's who beat you, LeBron, a journeyman? Not just beat you, beat the living shit out of you. Like, you looked bad. You looked terrible against Jason Terry. And this is supposed to be a revenge dunk? Nope. He's not even on the Mavericks anymore.
Nope.
And it's 3-on-1. Anyway, let's put this back up there, bigger, because I'm not done.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say about Jason Terry is I don't know why. I mean, see, I'm going to contradict myself. You should always try, but it's like there was no chance in hell of stopping that. So it's almost like, why?
No, like you said, hold on. I just want to say something. What you're hitting on is you're on the money. The reason why, like, listen, I don't necessarily have a problem with someone dunking on someone else, regardless of their size, right?
Sure.
And them feeling, or having a celebration, let's say, for the dunk, okay? No doubt about it. I get all of that. I have no problem with this. The problem with LeBron James in this moment is what we talk about, lacking self-awareness, not understanding where you are and who you are in this moment and who this is. That's Jason Terry. Like you mentioned, AOH, the guy that embarrassed you on the biggest stage in the NBA. When it really mattered most, when you had an opportunity to embarrass him like you're trying to embarrass him now, he actually, in fact, made you look really, really bad. So much so that people talk about 2011 ending your GOAT debate or any chance of you having a GOAT debate. Think about the impact on LeBron James, the implications of that series. Does anyone think that this footnote of Jason Terry getting dunked on by LeBron James a couple years later has any impact on his overall career or what people are remembering him for? No. In fact, people remember Jason Terry for, like you just mentioned, AOH, for cooking up LeBron James when it mattered most. But not only destroying him out there on the court, he was talking trash to LeBron James whilst doing this.
Yeah, you made a lot of good points. And it highlights what I'm saying. Like, this is LeBron James not being self-aware and using any opportunity that he can to try and overcome his insecurity. And you're right. Dunking on somebody feels great. I bet. So I've heard. I don't know. But I would probably celebrate too. But it's not the time to stand over a 6'1" guy in a 3-on-1. I would like to think that if I dunked on someone in a 3-on-1, I'm not going to taunt the guy that tried to stand there and take the charge.
I remember when I was in high school, right? I was in 11th grade, right? And I was on the varsity basketball team. And I remember we were playing against another team, and this team was really good, and we weren't really that great anyway. And I remember it was a fast break scenario. It was a 2-on-1, and I was the only man back. And as I'm backpedaling up, and I'm trying to, stop the ball, so to speak, all I realized is as I see the guy throw up the ball into the air, but I think that he's shooting it, but I'm like, where the hell is this guy shooting the ball? And then I turn, and next thing I know, when I turned, all I saw was somebody's like ankles and knees. All I saw, all that, legs, all in my face, man, waist, and an alley-oop dunk was being thrown and dunked it right on my head, man. I mean, right on my head. And, this is what I'm talking about. Did I feel some way about it? Yeah, I felt some way about it. I got dunked on, man. But that's part of the game. You know what I'm saying? People get hyped off of that. The crowd was hyped. Everybody was hyped. Listen, man. Wait, I know I'm rambling on here, man. We have to understand, man. Shout out to Baron Davis that you play in this clip. I know that his nickname was B. Diddy. I don't know if we can say that now. If we want to call him B. Diddy, that might be borderline. But shout out to Baron Davis because he was really a really good dunker at the size that he was. Sensational with the creativity on his dunks.
I have his "We Believe" dunk in here. I couldn't talk about him without including it. I will. I see in the comments a shout out to Ray Allen as a dunker. Yeah, another person that didn't go down in history as a great dunker, but he was.
Yeah.
And Hayden Phoenix mentions Gary Payton Jr. I agree. Another little guy who gets up there fast and isn't afraid to dunk on big guys. Yes. On
this day, a 24 Kobe, shout out to Kobe Bryant again, all his fans out there. Let's not forget that Kobe Bryant also competed in the slam dunk contest as a rookie, went out there and represented and held it down. So shout out to Kobe Bryant, man, and the dunks and the ways that he used to go and attack the rim and showing up on a slam dunk contest scenario.
Kobe was a pretty nasty in-game dunker. He was a nasty in-game dunker. I would say his in-game dunks were better than his dunk contest dunks. Let's finish this off. Okay, look at what you know what I'm showing there at the beginning? Jason Terry starts with Chalmers on the left, has to go all the way to the right, and then has to come to the middle. He's trying to cover 3 fucking people here, man. How's he going to have success? He's effed.
I give Jason Terry some credit here for trying to go up and attempt to block it. Like you said, he's giving some effort here. You can't knock him for that. I think that's what makes this a little bit, worse in the view of a posterization. But like you said, a lot of LeBron James dunks that are celebrated, who's this?
That's fucking Jason Terry, dude.
Yeah, yo, run that back.
I know.
Let me shut up.
You want to come on.
Yeah, see, some of these guys will climb the ladder, so to speak. They'll go up there. I see some of you guys mention Kevin Johnson and some of the dunks that he would come with. I mean, look at Jason Terry get up on that play. Let's see someone like the Baron Davis that you showed. I remember a guy named Robert Pack that used to come up in the 90s and would get up.
This is Jason Terry. Whew. You got that hesitation in the air. Whenever somebody hesitates in the air, that's pretty crazy.
Is that Andres Biedrins? I don't know who that is. He just went up on.
Yeah, that's Biedrins. And then here we go. That's a pretty nasty in-game dunk. I saw that live at a bar during the We Believe run. We didn't win the series, unfortunately, but my God, that just instantly, everyone. And
let's understand something, guys. See, pause that for a second, AOH. Or keep running while I'm talking. I don't care. What we talk about with the Baron Davis on that particular play, I want people to understand who he's dunking on in that play. He's dunking on a guy named Andre Kirilenko, man. And this guy was an excellent shot blocker at that small forward, power forward position, man. He was one of the elite wing defenders at that time, Andre Kirilenko, and a guy that would go up and give effort and attempt to block his shots. You know, when we talk about celebrating a lot of the great dunkers, the reason why guys like Dominique Wilkins are celebrated, the Sean Kemps are celebrated, the Vince Carters, the Michael Jordans, right? Some of the great dunkers, the Dr. J, some of the guys that you think about. The reason why we highlight them as great dunkers, not just because they did the slam dunk contest and we talk about the greatness of them on that stage, right? The creativity. But in games, they were dunking on guys that were legit shot blockers. They were dunking on guys that were going to go out there and contest your shot. They were going to be physical. They had to earn these dunks. And these guys were doing dunk contest level dunks in games against some of the elite shot blockers in the history of the game, man.
Did you see how Davis basically turned sideways in order to keep the arm far enough away from Karolinko, then paused and then brought it over in order to successfully dunk on him?
Another play that Kobe Bryant used to go and battle against in that Western Conference, when we talk about the weak Eastern Conference versus the stout Western Conference of that era, this is what we're often alluding to, what Kobe Bryant was able to do in that conference during those consecutive seasons where he went to 3 straight NBA Finals. So a shout to Scap Attack, who's always highlighting, what he was able to do in that conference during those years, going against someone like an Andre Kirilenko.
The Real Siberius is back. Thank you for your ongoing super chats and support. If Vince Carter ever did one of LeBron's dunks, we would have laughed in his face for doing such a weak-ass dunk. He has no poster dunks. That's a really good point. They include LeBron on these best dunks ever compilations, and I'm always amazed at how many times it's the same goddamn thing.
No, I see a lot of guys in the chat. Shout out to the Real Siberians. That's a great point. Oftentimes, if you guys remember, the career of Michael Jordan, sometimes when he came out in the fast break, if he didn't do a highlight level dunk, sometimes the fans would feel let down because that's the standard that Michael Jordan had. So like the Real Siberians is saying, LeBron James doesn't have that standard. Shout out to a lot of you guys in the chat. I see you guys throwing great names out. As far as dunkers, guys like Joe Green, I see you guys listing out there. Joe Green was a great dunker. Joe Smith. I remember Jason Richardson. Desmond Mason was a great dunker. Yeah. So shout out to all you guys out there, man. Like I said, dropping some of these names.
I think Mason and Richardson faced each other in a dunk contest.
Yep.
And Mason was good. Richardson reversed the in between the legs for the first time and won it. But Desmond Mason had that gliding through the air thing going.
Absolutely. Clyde Drexler, a lot of these great dunkers, like I said, they came out there, they were aggressive. They would try to dunk it on you. I saw someone named Stromae Swift. Shout out to Stromae Swift and the dunking prowess that he came through. Derrick Rose, a guy that was a dunker at that size. Russell Westbrook would come through the lane with ferocity. I saw someone mention John Starks earlier and some of the dunks of John Starks. David Robinson, to me, and we talk about big men. You talk about the dunk package and creativity from someone like David Robinson. He had great dunks.
I guess we better get on to my other footage. I don't think we're going to be able to, I've got 2 more segments of footage, but we probably will only do 1. Maybe we'll save part 2 for Wednesday, or maybe we'll get through it. We'll see what happens. So let me pause it and make it big. Get the super chats off since it makes everything smaller. Okay, here we go. So again, for context, if I gave an intro to this at the beginning of the show, but this is me looking at December 31st, 2024, LeBron's first game that he actually played after turning 40. This is just the first period, and this is just one play from that period. So much more to look at. I cut my audio out, and so you've got a couple of intro stills here.
Okay.
But look at Dean Wade just blowing by him. And then the play itself actually includes Dean Wade. And this is what I consider a blown switch on D. And with the shot clock running out, the Cavs end up getting off the shot. Now there's Rui Hachimura on the shooter. LeBron James decides to just join Rui Hachimura in guarding the same guy.
All right.
So is that Rui's mistake or LeBron's? And then I break it down in really slow motion and I asked the members what they thought. Because we all know that LeBron fans will come up with any excuse in order to blame a teammate instead of LeBron. You want to crack at this before I play the rest of it?
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead, run it.
Okay. So I don't even know what LeBron's, if Dean Wade's trying to set a screen, one of the things I pointed out is that he fails because Rui Hachimura goes right past him. Rui Hachimura doesn't even know a screen is taking place. So at the minimum, LeBron needs to tell him that a switch is going to take place. Now, LeBron can easily stay with Dean Wade. There is no need to switch here. In my opinion, it's simply the easiest, most convenient, laziest thing to do. Now, because of this blown defensive segment, when Dean Wade goes over here, unguarded, that forces Anthony Davis to come up out of the paint onto Dean Wade, which then allows Mobley to have no one to come out onto him. Shot clock is winding down. They get a three-pointer that they otherwise would not have gotten. What are you seeing here? Are you seeing anything that lets LeBron James off the hook?
All right. I think what you said in the beginning is very important when you talked about, the communication. Does Rui Hachimura, in fact, know that there's a screen coming? Let's go back and think about us playing basketball in the street. Hey, wait, you often bring this up. If me and you are playing basketball in the street, if I'm playing with you, what I'm going to do if someone's coming to set a screen on your side, I'm going to let you know, yo, there's a screen coming on your side. I got your help. That's what I'm going to say to you. I got your help, man. I don't even have to know you. I don't have to never know who you are. I'm just playing with you. I just met you. We're playing 5-on-5 now. That's what I'm going to say to you. Yo, you got someone coming up on your left, man. I got your help, man. So what I'm letting you know is that you'll get a screen coming up so you can once again act in kind, right? But I'm also letting you know that I got your help if you get a screen where you can't get through it. That's what I think that you hope that you're getting from me by me telling you this. So the number one key here is communication, right? Is LeBron James and Rui Hachimura in fact talking, hey, there's a screen coming, I got your help. But also, more importantly, we take it a step further in the huddle, pre-game scenarios, the game plan. This has been something that you went over. This should have been something the coach talked about. Hey, listen, in a scenario where we get a screen, we're switching everything out here. Whatever it is, what you just saw in this video is what they call a flare screen. It's not necessarily a screen to the degree where you're standing there holding your ground and you're setting an actual real screen on a guy's body. You're actually fading the screen and sliding off into a catch scenario for a catch and shoot. And what do we see happen? LeBron James and Rui Hachimura don't communicate. There's no screen set. That is not a screen. There's no one touched. He doesn't touch him. And like you said, for some reason, Rui Hachimura doesn't switch. LeBron James does.
So I played devil's advocate and I thought, what if it's just the Lakers' strategy? What if JJ Redick says switch on every single screen, which he would only say that in order to help LeBron's slow ass. Still, Rui Hachimura doesn't even know there's a fucking screen there. Rui Hachimura isn't going to execute the game plan if he doesn't know that it's taking place. So again, as you started with, lack of communication, as you finished with, it wasn't even a real screen. And then the announcers, of course, didn't say a damn thing about it, which is why Hubie Brown is on the screen. I started saying these fucking announcers back in the day, even if that was Michael Jordan fucking up, would tell everyone, oh no, wait a minute, here's what went wrong on that play. So you could actually learn about basketball. Instead, they're glazing. They're glazing so often that we've lost the educational opportunity that these guys used to provide.
Yep, absolutely.
Skip ahead.
Look at poor Hubie Brown. Poor Hubie Brown has to sit there and deal with this nonsense.
Well, Hubie didn't watch this. I just threw Hubie's face. No, this was the Lakers home guys glazing. And I just said I was using Hubie Brown as an example of how different things would be. And then
shout out to Hubie Brown.
Look at fucking LeBron.
Huey Brown, who educated us on the game of basketball.
And, you know, that Dean Wade's got his leg out illegally. Everyone sets illegal screens now, it seems like, but you're not supposed to be past shoulder length. But like you said, it wasn't even a real screen. It was a flare screen. But why would Rui even think to switch? I apparently have already said all of this out loud while we were watching this. So I suppose there's nothing else to add. But I saw someone else in the comments point out something that I pointed out in part 2, also in the members section, that
oh my goodness. Bro, it's broken.
They said what's LeBron doing right after this? And he's already cheating down the court. And you're absolutely right. I don't know if you got that from watching my video or if you can tell just from watching this, because I do include that in my longer version, that LeBron cheats down court for a cherry pick. Yep. And so instead of the announcers talking about you just gave up a 3-pointer through stupidity, they're going to talk about the 2-point cherry pick at the other end. Well, it was 3 points versus 2 points, first of all. And the 2 points was only possible thanks to LeBron James giving up the 3 points at the other end. And of course, I'm sure that Rui Hachimura or someone else is going to take the blame for
it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, what LH described to you is called stat padding. That's what stat padding is. When you cherry pick on the other side of the court, listen, great players sometimes get stuck on the other side of the court. We've all played basketball. When someone gets stuck on the other side of the court, you fall down, whatever the case may be, man, and you get an easy basket. We've seen that happen time and time again in NBA's history. The problem for LeBron James is the consistency at which it happens. This man's always doing this. You turn on LeBron James' game, and that man's not getting across half court. I guarantee it. You turn on LeBron James' game, he's stumbling and bumbling out there. He's cherry picking for baskets. LeBron James in games when his team is down by 20, his team is up by 20. LeBron James in there playing against his second and third string guys, man. That's called stat padding.
When his shooting percentage isn't particularly good in the first place, and then you find out that it's only as good as it is because of dunks and layups, that's not good. And then you find out that those dunks and layups are often cherry picks or garbage time.
Yep.
That makes it even worse. Your percentages, your stats that you like to refer to, are built on bullshit.
Yep. Right. Exactly.
Fuck it. I might as well play the whole thing. You want to see all of it?
Yeah, run it, AOH.
Okay. So, like I said, I'm breaking down the entire game for both Jordan and LeBron, and I'm sitting here in the first period, and I'm realizing I'm having to stop every fucking play. Every play, which means consecutive. So I call this 7 consecutive plays. Stop.
It's like the Magic 8-Ball says, you are a loser.
All right, so we start with LeBron James bricking with a full shot clock remaining. Here, all right, so that's just as right before the screen. You guys, tell me if this isn't a foul on LeBron fucking James. And let's hold on before everybody shits their pants saying that it's ticky-tack. Here comes LeBron. He overplays it. He's getting beaten. First of all, he's getting beaten. So the only way he's going to stop him is with a blocking foul, technically. Now, would I call it? Probably not. But what I mentioned in the members video is what happened to all the nonsense about, what were they calling it? Freedom of movement. When a guy was basically set and standing in front of LeBron James, and LeBron James just ran him over. And then they started babbling about, oh, you have to give the offensive player freedom of movement. Like, what? Where are we going?
Right.
That's essentially saying you can't play defense. Do not be in front of the offensive player and the rim.
Go ahead.
Well, as ridiculous as that is,
yep,
If we were to adopt that stupidity of freedom of movement, where's the freedom of movement for Dean Wade here?
Yep.
We got to be consistent. Even if it's all bullshit, can we have consistent bullshit? No, of course we can't. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, when I see a play like that happen, I say on my channel that LeBron James is allowed to use physicality in an era that I thought that you're not supposed to or be allowed to use physicality. He's the only player that's allowed to use the physicality to the degree that he's allowed to use it. And like I said, use it to his advantage when people can't use that level of physicality against LeBron James, or he's throwing himself into the crowd, knocking over people's drinks, asking for napkins and stuff. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and by the way, his physicality, you might notice Dean Wade kind of goes flying after that impact. In fact, he travels regaining his feet, but they never call traveling anymore. And so now we go from that right into LeBron James blowing the switch on defense, turns into the three-pointer for the Cavs, which we already talked about. And there's LeBron taking off. Ball has not even left, and he is heading the other direction.
And like you said, is there going to be any level of acknowledgement or accountability taken from a LeBron James in these moments? When I talk about body language on my channel, I want you people, anyone out there, just look at the body language of LeBron James.
Here we go. Here's the cherry pick.
Yep.
And what's next? LeBron James going ape shit over a play that he couldn't possibly have seen what the right call was. LeBron James knows that Rui Hachimura didn't touch that ball.
He knows.
And the reason I included this part is LeBron fans who have not watched Michael Jordan say that Michael Jordan complained to the refs. Michael Jordan had conversations with the refs when they made really bad calls. LeBron James is jumping up and down on every play, plays that don't involve him, and plays that he doesn't even know what the actual result was. And and then I have to include that's just a dreadful pass. You can't get it high enough for Anthony Davis's 7'6" wingspan. Look at this. Jared Allen doesn't even leave his feet to steal this.
Yeah, you're right.
These are consecutive plays, guys. I'm not cherry picking. Oh, you got to love the box out here too. What's LeBron doing? What's he doing?
Nothing. He's looking at his teammates to see if they're going to box out.
And then I got distracted and I started getting mad at Jared Allen because this should have been a thunderous putback dunk. I don't know if there's a rule that says don't ever dunk near LeBron James or you'll be excommunicated. But he misses the putback. Sadly enough, the Cavs won anyway. This was LeBron's return game. The Lakers won when LeBron was out. The game he took off against the Kings, comes back, they lose to the Cavs. Really important to have LeBron around, isn't it, Laker fans?
Listen, we can watch this film and we can sit here and we can question LeBron James' effort. We can literally watch it and question the effort on a consistent basis, guys. These are not robots. They're human beings. So all these great players that we've mentioned over the time, we're not saying any of these guys are perfect. None of them are. None of us are. But we're talking about being consistent, right? This is how you become a legend. This is how you become an all-time great. This is how you earn the respect because you're consistent with what you do. You're consistently standing on your principles, your values, all these kinds of things. You're consistently putting in the work. You're consistently showing up. So if we think about all these things, that's all we can ask from a lot of these dudes, man. And when you look at LeBron James, he's consistently having the poor body language. He's consistently looking at his teammates as if it's their fault all the time, when it clearly was his fault. He's never taking the accountability for a lot of this stuff. Look at some of the plays that you just showed here, and look at LeBron James' reaction and the body language during these plays. When you look at Michael Jordan and a lot of the things that people talk about Michael Jordan, they never question his effort, his commitment, unless you're Kevin Durant, then they question your commitment.
And I mentioned it in passing, but it's an important point for everyone who wants to say that I cherry pick. This is literally consecutive plays in the first period. Like this is why it takes so long to break down the game film. He's that bad. I couldn't take a play off. The only thing missing here is when somebody's dribbling it down the court, I cut off a few seconds in order to avoid being copyrighted. Otherwise, we're just watching the game go straight through. And everything I just showed you in those consecutive clips were in fact consecutive. That's not fake. That's not fake. And I'm only through the first period. He's only going to get more tired and chuck up worse shots as the game goes on. And the fourth period, he can't make a goddamn thing. And he's got to turn over the ball at least 2 times in every fourth period, especially if the game is close.
Absolutely. You have to.
Well, that was a full show. I'll throw the link up real quick, but like I said at the beginning, I dedicate a few hours of this a week. It is not what I actually do, so I'm not going to stay on too much longer. You want to take a call, Robin?
Yeah, if you want to take one call, I could do one if you want to do one. I know we've been going for kind of long here. I got to get going soon.
Why don't I just let you wrap it up, because I really dominated today with the topics, and you probably didn't even get to say a lot of what you wanted to.
Are you kidding me? I didn't shut up, man. I never shut up. AOH, man, come on, man. Once again, man, it's been a pleasure. Yeah, listen, we can wrap it up. We'll close it out. Listen, shout out to all you guys that continue to come through. It really means a lot. The consistency. Hey, listen, we talk about the word consistency. You guys are consistently coming through the live streams and donating to the channel, donating to the conversation. Like I said, man, it really means a lot. So thank you to all you guys that continue to come through. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Sunday. My man AOH, it was a great show as usual. Great video footage, great conversation. Like I said, I always have a great time with you. But I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, man. Thank you very much. You guys know the deal, man. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks, everybody, for coming through.